Hey, let's have a chat with Spurs legend Johnny Moore.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a great weekend. And we're back at it right here on Locked On Spurs, your first and only spot for all things San Antonio Spurs, your first listen each and every day. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here, and right now new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets. Download FanDuel.com to get started. So, what are we talking about today? It's not what we're talking about, it's who's on the show. You know, I've been doing Locked On Spurs for several years now, but it's rare that I get to have a Spurs legend come on Locked On Spurs. That's right, Mr. Johnny Moore, 00 himself. And every time we go to the Frost Center, you look up in the roof and you see that 00 hanging from the retired jersey section? Yeah, Johnny Moore. He's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. We're going to be discussing his time in the NBA. What was it like? Some of the best memories. You know, he also talks about, the Lakers rivalry. A lot of people think the Lakers-Spurs rivalry started like in the Duncan era. No, it actually started in the Moore's era with the Spurs. And he goes on to talk about playing with the Iceman. He talks about so much more, including what he's up to now. And did you know the ABA still exists here in San Antonio? He's actually the head coach of the local ABA team, the Alamo City All-Stars. He's going to talk about that, how you can go support him, the team, just share the experience of a semi-pro basketball right here in San Antonio. And then he talks about today's Spurs. Yeah, what do you think about Wemby? What do you think about Mitch Johnson? The list goes on and on. Does he think this team will make the playoffs? What? Also, he talks about how no way in his day would they ever considered doing the Super Friends team-ups like we see in today's NBA. He goes on and on about so much about the game of basketball and just, his life in San Antonio. And so without further ado, let's go bring in our very special guest, Mr. Johnny Moore. And now let's go ahead and welcome our very special guest, Mr. 00 himself, Johnny Moore. You go out to the Frost Bank Center, you look up in the rafters, you might see his name and number hanging from the ceiling. Mr. Moore, thank you so much for taking time to join us here on Locked On Spurs.
No, that's my pleasure.
Yeah. So how you been, man? You doing all right?
Well, I'm doing all right. Just back in the school. I got a new charter school and just trying to get acclimated to that.
Yeah. Oh, so you got a new charter school. Tell us about that.
Well, it's at my church at Temple Praise. They brought in the charter school. It's the number one charter school in the state, Dimension. Nice. And, it's the upstart. So, we don't have a whole lot of kids, but, it's grown. We get kids every day. It's just trying to level the playing field for some of the kids there in the community.
Absolutely. And congratulations on that, too. I bet it's a chore, but you and your staff, y'all got things under control, and hopefully it'll get bigger and bigger and better as the years go by. So, before we get into talking about the All-Stars, by the way, everybody, the ABA never left San Antonio. We'll talk about that in a few minutes because Mr. Moore, he is the head coach of that team. Again, in a few minutes, we'll talk about the All-Stars. But let's take a trip down memory lane. So let's talk about those old NBA days. You played in that Hemisphere Arena. You joined the team right when they became an NBA team, where they away from the ABA. I think you mentioned to me before that you still felt that flavor of the ABA, even though they were already in the NBA. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, that is correct. They was in transition, they're coming into the NBA, but they still had that run and gun style. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that, we really indoctrinated here in the San Antonio community. And it was a great time. Those were magic moments back there. And, I'm really, really thinking about those times that we had.
I remember the court being, I think at one point it was red and white, and it had like the old school San Antonio logo, and then they transitioned little by little into those Fiesta colors. It was awesome times too. And Johnny, I remember the Hemisphere Arena being so loud. You could sit on the upper deck and stand whenever it would stand up. It felt like you were just on top of everybody. We got a new generation of Spurs fans here now that weren't alive around with the Hemisphere Arena days. Can you talk to us about you as a player? How electric was it hearing all those fans in Hemisphere?
Yes, it was very electric. You talk about going up in the stands. I've only been up in the rafters like that maybe one time, and it was kind of scary. It's almost like you was gonna fall down onto the court. But the Hemisphere, it was a special place. With the baseline bums, of course they were like the sixth man for us, and just the whole atmosphere. I just think the whole community really embraced the Spurs and really made the Spurs their own. And it was just a great atmosphere. People and the rest of the teams, they didn't relish coming to San Antonio because they knew they had to face the Spurs and the fans.
Oh yeah. And the baseline bums, when they were actually on the baseline, just notorious for just roasting the opponents, coaches. I think there was even one time, Pat Riley, he was a guest on the David Letterman show, and he talked about the baseline bums being fans that the Lakers used to hate having to play against out in the Hemisphere. So yeah, the bums were particularly fun to watch and got into a lot of antics. Johnny, I don't know if you know this, but even though the Hemisphere is no longer, they're constructing a basketball court in the middle of Hemisphere Arena near the footprint of Hemisphere, so fans can almost play on the same area that y'all played back in the 80s, and just good times. Johnny, you were one of the pioneers for the Spurs organization. You were here when its roots were coming down and everything. Do you look back and remember those days and think to yourself, man, we really started something here in San Antonio?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
And anytime you take part in any organization, there's people that came before you and you want to hopefully build on that. What we did and what we established, back in those days, really set the precedence for, later on in the championships and the style play that, has been continued over the years. So, we take great pride in the fact that, we were, on the foundation of all that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was you, it was Gilmore, it's just a Gervin, and the list goes on and on. And you look to today, even when the Spurs were winning titles, the organization still recognizes the first generation players like yourself and others. Johnny, talk to us about some of your favorite memories playing at Hemisphere on that court. You have a favorite game that sticks out for you, maybe a favorite moment you had with a teammate. What do you remember?
Well, that's hard to say. There's so many, but I guess one of my favorite memories was we was playing the Lakers. I always loved to play the Lakers because they were the elite in the West.
Right.
And, they got all the championships and the history behind them. So we always got up for them whenever we had an opportunity to play them. And we had a discrepancy in one of the games. And so they came back and they had the little arbitration. They came back. And so we actually played 2 games, finished that one game and played them again. So that was particularly nice for me because we beat this Lakers twice in the same night. So, that was one of the times that, I really enjoyed, playing. And it was just a great memory for us. The Lakers had great teams with Kareem and Magic and Worthy. And you can just go on and on, with their history. But, we was really focused on making our own history at the time. And that was one particular game where, I was like, and I don't think there's too many people can ever say they beat the Lakers twice in one day.
Yeah, exactly. In the same day, everybody. The Spurs beat the Lakers in the same day. So take that, LA. And a lot of fans think like the Lakers-Spurs rivalry started like in the late 90s, 2000s with Shaq and Kobe and Timmy and David. But it actually goes further back. A lot of people don't remember. These younger fans, like, it started during Johnny's time. That's when they was the Spurs and the Lakers. There was a rivalry there, and it was always Spurs and Lakers for the West. Meeting in the playoffs. Kind of history repeated itself.
in the late 90s and early 2000s during the Spurs Duncan era and the Shaq era. But Johnny, you also look back at those days, playing early in the NBA with the Spurs. Did y'all feel a sense of pressure to kind of prove that the Spurs were worthy to be part of the NBA? Because you look at the legacy teams, it was the Celtics, the Lakers, maybe I guess the Bulls and throw them in there, whatever. Y'all guys were the new kids on the block. How did y'all get received?
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets used across the app. You'll love FanDuel because it's just fits everything you need. You can build a same game parlay, do player props, jump into live action as the action unfolds. Make every moment more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. Quick, easy, the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. Cowboys have started their season. Texans are starting their season, so might as well jump on FanDuel right now. Ready to play? Download the FanDuel app right now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet.
Well, anytime, that's what pro athletics is all about. You have to go out and prove yourself every night because I don't care what team, you could be the last place team in the league, but you have the potential to beat anybody in that league at any time. So every time we go out on the floor, we were very adamant about, proving ourselves and establishing ourselves in our style. We kind of had to force our style on some people. They tried to slow it down a little bit, but, that wasn't working. We was running and shooting and gunning and, putting numbers on the board. And, for a time, we was like, if not between us and Denver, we were probably the two highest scoring teams in the league. So anytime we went out there, it was, everybody knew that, it's time to go to work and, show the people and the people they really wanted to see us because of the style and the brand of basketball that we played.
Johnny, imagine yourself playing in today's era where defense is kind of not that good. Can you imagine, Johnny, playing today?
I'm just saying, the rules change and, and anything you have to be able to adjust to the rules, but, you can't I can remember one time, what's his name? Earl Strong, he's one of the famous, referees. And I said, Earl, man, he pushed me in he got his hands on me. He's pushed me. I said, man, get his hands on. He said, Johnny, he's allowed to hand check you. I said, no, but he's got me. He said, Johnny, save your money. I said, yes, sir. I said, yes, sir. But it's quite different now, it's changed with the influx of the European players, the 3-point line. The game has changed quite a bit. But, back in the day, it was a lot more aggressive, more physical than it is today. But, like I said, you have to have the ability to change with the times.
Yeah, Johnny, you might be posting triple doubles almost nightly in today's era. Right? Think about it.
It would happen. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Hey, was there like one opponent that every time that guy walked into the court, you're like, oh man, I got to bring my A game? Who would that be for you?
Well, of course, it's the Lakers, but there's so many players, great players. You got Kevin Johnson in Phoenix. He was so fast, and of course, Magic. Then it's like, well, Magic. He posts me up. I'd be like, hell. So me and Ice had to switch, but then you had Norm Nixon out there, and Gus Williams. From Seattle, and the list goes on and on. Everybody had top quality notch players, and so it was a task every night out, and you had to be focused and ready to play.
And those are jersey retirement worthy kind of people, Hall of Fame kind of players. Yeah,
it's funny. Something just popped in my mind was like Calvin Murphy, a little bitty Calvin Murphy, but he was a beast. And when I came in, I can remember Ice and said, man, Calvin, you got to watch because, he'll trip you. I said, he better not trip me. I'm going to trip him back. And I wasn't in the game 2 minutes and he tripped me. And I
Oh
said, oh, yeah,
man.
because I remember what I said. And I tripped him back, and he bounced up. I said, uh-oh, because, Calvin Murphy could fight.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh. But, he just went on down the court. I was like, whew.
Yeah. 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 That would not have been a good moment right there on the court. I get it. You have to defend yourself, but my God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but everybody had their personalities, and the sportsmanship, was always a part of the game. But when you go out there in business and the demand and the pressure to win, all that takes its toll. But I think most of the people in the league at that time, we had squabbles. It's an emotional game, but
Sure.
the professionalism was very high, and the
Yeah,
respect for each
absolutely.
other, I think, was there.
Absolutely. And you played in an era where it's not like today's era where everybody's kind of buddy and want to team up. You guys weren't about that life, were y'all?
No, not even. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, they talk about, well, we know, well, when you throw the word hate around, but the Lakers,
Mhm.
Houston, Dallas. Everybody was our rival, and when you come up against them, no, we're not trying to hang out and do all that with you. We coming in, we got a job to do. So you
Yeah.
come in and try to do your job and get on out of town.
Yeah, exactly. Get that W and then
That's
move
it.
on. Exactly. Uh, what was it like playing with Ice? You two guys were kind of like the two heads of the snake for the Spurs for quite some time. What was it like having him as a running mate?
You know, that's that's one of the thrills of my lifetime as far as my career was concerned. Yeah, I can remember when I got drafted, and I got drafted by Seattle, and I was like, oh, I'm a supersonic. And then he said, they traded you to Spurs. I was like, what? Yes. And so, to be in the backcourt with Ice, and he was just so, see, people thought, he was nonchalant, but that was just his style. But he
Right.
was very focused and concentrated on his game, and he was a winner.
Mhm.
To be in the backcourt, it took a lot of pressure off of me. I had a shooting guard in college, Jim
Mhm.
Kreback, so I understood that guard play, how important that was. And so, the Ice, he said, yeah, Mo, I like it like that because I took a pressure off of him. He didn't have to handle the ball. He just skate down the
Right.
floor. I hit him. He do his business. So, no, that was a thrill, man. And, one of the highlights of my career.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's that often you just say like, yeah, you were the running mate of a Hall of Fame player like Ice, and like you guys were definitely the two heads of the snake for the Spurs in the early NBA days. So kudos to you and him. By the way, I have to share a funny story with you. So I had told a friend of mine that you were going to be coming on today's show, right? And he works at that time he worked for a different media outlet in San Antonio. Um, and he said that you're gonna love this. He said he had interviewed you uh, a few days before your big day with the Spurs, your 0-0 hanging up, and he had asked you. He goes, "Hey, do you think Johnny? You think your jersey number should be hung up in the rafters?" And at that time, you had said like you had told him like, yeah, for sure, I should be up there. And then sure enough, a few days later, 0-0 goes up and they're hanging after it. So the punchline is he tells me today, and by the way, shout out Mike Jimenez. He tells me that he's embellishing, but he goes, if it wasn't for me asking Johnny, maybe the Spurs would have never ever put him up there. So he's taking full credit, Johnny. Not you for what you did. He's taking full credit, Johnny.
Well, Donald, what I'm saying, we play our career, and everybody who
Yeah.
plays, they hope that they're accomplishing their work ethic and what they bring to the
Yeah.
franchise is appreciated. So it was just a great honor for me,
Yeah.
to go up on that wall. I remember when I said,
Yeah.
yeah, you going up on the wall, but it was a secret. My family, they knew, but they kept the secret. I was like, which was kind of strange because my little girl,
Yeah.
she used to tell everything, right? But they kept the secret, and it was special, for the people, and just to see how the people and the fans, appreciate the hard work and work
Yeah.
ethic that I put forward. It's a great
Yeah.
deal.
How did you take it when you got the news that you're going to be you're retired? Your 0-0's going up. How did you take that?
How'd I take it?
Yeah, yeah. How did you take it? Were you just
No,
excited? Like,
like
yeah,
it was funny because I didn't know until that night.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
during the ceremony, and I was like, "What?
Okay.
They'll come out on the floor," and I was like, "Oh, so it was." I was taken by surprise, but it's really a good feeling because even as a point guard, you know what I'm saying. A lot of times you don't get the accolades that you might feel you deserve because my responsibility is to get everybody involved, to run the team, to be the extension of the coach out on the floor, and so a lot of time that's not the glamour part of the game. But
Right.
it's a necessity. Put it in other terms, I'm like the steering wheel. You can have all the power under the hood, but you got to have that steering wheel to navigate.
Yeah.
And so, some people kind of overlook that, but it was just a great feeling for me to go and a thrill that the way I was always accepted with the Spurs, and even my time when I was sick. You know what I'm saying? The love and support I got from the community. I mean, it's just a great feeling. I wouldn't like to go through my career anywhere else but San Antonio.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then after you were finished and you were all healed up from your illness, you actually made a comeback. You did another round, I believe, and you came back to the Spurs after you were free and clear medically. What was that experience like for you?
No, it's a good experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like my career was cut a little bit short, but to have the opportunity to come back and to continue to play. And it was a struggle, I can remember General Manager Tom Bob Bass, and he was like, "Well, Johnny, we think you might have lost a step." I said, "Okay, so that puts me about even with the rest of them." So so we still good. Let's keep rolling. But no, it was just. I mean, those are things that you have things in front of you, obstacles in front of you that you have to overcome. And I mean, that's just a testament of the character and the coaching and the support that I've had my whole career, to understand how, everything's not going to always go the way you want it, but you have to dig in and fight and for what you want. And so, I mean, that's part of who I am. So, but it was a great deal, to come back and, to be accepted like that. Matter of fact, the game that I came back, we played the Lakers.
Oh, wow.
I remember we was in LA, we played the Lakers, and Jack Nicholson was like, "Oh, back," and he made a comment. I was like, he's like, "No, nothing bad, because I was always like a little thorn in their side."
Yeah.
And when I came back, they was kind of like, he really ain't back. But I mean, I had a good game, and and that was the onset of me coming back and and enjoying my career some more.
That's nice. Yeah, exactly. Hey, yeah, you look up today at the Frost Bank Center, you'll see Duncan, you'll see Robinson, you'll see Manu, you'll see Ice, but also hanging in there is 00 Johnny Moore. So yeah, he'll always live on in Spurs history with that retired jersey. We're talking with San Antonio Spurs legend Johnny Moore, Mr. 00. He is here on Locked On Spurs to talk about the NBA days for him and some of his best moments. But you may be asking, like, okay, so what's he doing now? Now, y'all probably didn't notice, I got something on my t-shirt here, or my shirt here. Yeah, you might be wondering what that logo is about. This is the San Antonio, or the Alamo City, I should say, Alamo City All-Stars. Now, you're probably asking, like, well, what's that? Well, did you know, everybody, the ABA didn't really die once the Spurs left and got absorbed into the NBA. The ABA is still going strong in San Antonio, and San Antonio does have a franchise, the Alamo City All-Stars. And the gentleman you see on your screen, he is their head coach. So talk to us about the All-Stars. What is it about? What is it like for you to be a head coach? Brag about the All-Stars.
Well, I mean, it's a great opportunity. They always say, whenever you can't play, you coach. So, I'm fall in that category, but, I still have a love for the game and still want to help, young players, have an opportunity to expand their careers. And I think that the ABA now is like a feeder league into, I've sent some people overseas, various places, Costa Rica, some to the Harlem Globetrotters. So those people, there's 33 teams in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken.
30. There's 30, yeah. 30.
So
3-0.
so the numbers are limited, but you know, so much talent out there, and there are various other leagues. So you know, for that young person who still wants to continue to, you know, follow their career and their hearts and try to, you know, catch on and play professional basketball, I mean, this gives them an opportunity to do that. So, you know, we're proud to say that, you know, we're one of the elite teams now. People don't realize, but there's probably about 150 teams in the ABA.
The ABA, yeah.
So, you know, they're going to start streamlining it, you know, but they still in existence. You know, we still give them an opportunity, and players still come from here and use that as a springboard to some higher and some better play.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, for those of y'all who don't know, they play at the Antioch. Well, it used to be the Antioch building. It's now called I got it right here. It is now the East Thurman Walker Sports Complex. Again, formerly the Antioch Sports Complex. And for those of y'all who want to go, the season starts soon. I think October 11th is your exhibition game against JBSA Lackland, the Warhawks, I believe. And that game, everybody's going to be on Saturday, October 11th at 4 p.m. Doors open at 3:30. Tickets are available right now. You want to go to AlamoCityAllStarsTeam.com. Look, it's a fun time. About $10 tickets. That's it. You can't beat that in San Antonio. $10 tickets. Kids, $5.
Like the old Hemisphere time.
Yeah, relive those Hemisphere Arena times. Again, you'll see the All-Stars. You'll see JBSA. They're going to be having that. It is basically the battle for Military City. That's where they're labeling that. So we'll give you some more information as the show continues here. But you know, Johnny, how's the team looking so far? I got to visit you at practice tryouts, I should say, and it looks like you run a pretty tight ship there. But it's been a while. The season's right around the corner. How's the team looking?
Well, you know, basically, like you say, they were just tryouts. Wasn't a whole lot of coaching. You know, we lay down a basic foundation, and you know, but we make them understand, you know, that it's not just about the play; it's about their character and what our expectations are. Because if you're going into the league, you have to make them realize that somebody is always watching, not just your play, but what you're doing on the bench, on the sideline, how you conduct yourself as a person. And all that stuff is important. So, you know, we try to give them the framework for a good professional.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I got to ask, like, since you've been head coach for a while now, what do you think your challenges are? What do you think of the rewards of being a head coach?
Well, for me, the challenge is just to really expand from being local. You know, we got 3 teams right here in the San Antonio, about 4 teams in the San Antonio, Austin area. And so the talent there is kind of saturated. So just really to get more involvement from the community to enhance the sponsorship so that, you know, we can expand and get, you know, players from all over the country. So we talking about, you know, providing lodging and different things to supplement, you know, maybe whatever monies they might receive. So, I mean, it's a challenge, but like I say, you know, for that one who's really focused on, you know, trying to play and to do some other things, I mean, it's a great opportunity, you know, to learn and to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I'm assuming the rewards are for you as a head coach is not only for them getting better at their craft, but also, you know, moving on like to the European leagues, maybe even the G League, to see them transition. And also, too, you know, just to see them as young men or just men just get better in life and become better people, just a better person moving forward. But,
you know, Jeff, I mean, that's really what life is really all about. You know, basketball is just a vehicle. You know, it teaches you things that, you know, that you can carry for the rest of your life, work ethic and camaraderie and the relationships that you build. I mean, all that stuff is important in whatever job market you might be in, whatever relationship you might get in. So it's just a good learning opportunity. This year, I have to say, you know, we're going to have a great veterans camp. You know, we got quite a few guys that, you know, that I like. And, you know, I had to tell my guys that I played last year, you know, sure, I had to go through, and I can remember when they cut me, and I was like, I've never been cut from a team ever in my life, and tell me that
Sure.
I wasn't going to make this team. It's disheartening, but you got to put your best foot forward, and put all your tools together, your attitude, your work ethic, your basketball IQ, all that stuff has to come together, and to see, if you can fit in with what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, they are the Alamo City All-Stars. Their first game, it's an exhibition game, but it'll be on Saturday, October 11th. It's at East Thurman Walker Sports Complex, off Ewell Street, zip code 2. Tickets are available now. Again, they're $10. That's it, $10. $10. Kids, $5. You're in the military, $7. Seniors, $7. And it's a real inexpensive time to enjoy some basketball. Some guys pouring their heart out on the court and trying to take down JBSA. We want the All-Stars to get the W, right? We don't want JBSA to get the W. No, so go out there, support the team. Again, you want to go to Alamo City AllStarsTeam.com for more ticket information. Again, it'll be the 5th annual Battle for Military City. So go check that out. I really haven't. I've been kind of pocketing my personal announcement with y'all because I'm waiting for the regular season to get closer before I say anything. For those of y'all who don't know, the All-Stars were kind enough and gracious enough to go ahead and bring me on, and I'll be doing some sideline reporting for Mr. Moore, the All-Stars, the players, beginning this season. So it's my rookie year, Coach. You gonna take it easy on me?
Oh, well, hey, I give you all the room to do your thing. I'm just saying, we understand, your responsibility is to promote us and to really, let them know what's going on, the reality of the game,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not going to be always good, but, we took the good, the bad, and the indifferent in the effort to, improve and to move forward.
Yeah. And Coach Moore, if I can just say this for now, take it easy on me when I interview you during the game, right? Just take it easy on me. No, I ain't ready to see Johnny's going to give me the business the first moment he can. The first moment he can, he's going to be like just going hard on me. But looking forward to that. Again, we are talking with Johnny Moore, Spurs legend, head coach of the Alamo City All-Stars team right here in San Antonio. It's the ABA franchise. And we're talking all things Spurs, all things All-Stars, and so much more. Again, you want to go and follow the All-Stars on Instagram. They're at the Alamo City All-Stars. Go there. You get all the information you need about how you can attend the games. And like Johnny said right now, it's like reliving the Hemisphere days. You get good prices, some great snacks. You can enjoy the game. These are competitive guys just balling out on the court. Again, the ABA, San Antonio's very own ABA team, the All-Stars. Hey, Johnny, before I go, I'll let you go here. I got to talk to you about the current Spurs team. And look, they've been going through a playoff drought, man. This is like uncommon for San Antonio. They haven't made the postseason, but they got that big man in the middle, Wemby. They got that young guy, Castle. We can't call them rookies or young guys anymore. They're veterans now. That's Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan. They got the rookie, Dylan Harper. What's your take on this current team this upcoming season? How are you feeling for them?
Well, I like it, and it's going to be a work in progress. But the thing about it is, just like you say, there's Wemby and the rest of them, they have a little bit more experience. So, once you go around the track a couple of times, you kind of know what to expect and how to navigate your way around. So, I'm really excited and looking forward to them getting back to the place where, the Spurs once was. But if you understand, when you're at the top, the only place to go is down. So, and it's hard to stay up there, year after year after year after year, just the way the structure of the league is with the drafts and the whole 9 yards. But, Spurs been fortunate. The one thing about them is that they always give you an exciting brand of basketball. So, win, lose, or draw, it keeps the interest of the people. But I really look forward for them to come together to develop that chemistry that they need and to become that winning franchise, that we all come accustomed to. We all spoiled to see.
Yeah.
So it's on the horizon.
Hey, Johnny, can you imagine yourself playing with a guy like Wemby in the middle for you?
Wow. Man, that'd be phenomenal.
Easy.
I know my assist total was way up.
Yeah, it doesn't take a genius, right, Johnny? Just give it to that tall guy in the middle, right?
Yeah.
There you go. Just, hey, take it. Do what you got to do. Just give me them assists. There. Hey, you have any advice for now technically full-on rookie head coach, Mitch Johnson? You're a head coach of a pro team. He's about to do his first official head coaching year. What would you tell Mitch Johnson about taking the reins from a guy like Popovich? That's the shadow, the footsteps as he's following.
Well, yeah, we always going to be in the shadow of that greatness and the teams that he had. But, he has his own personality and he has to go and really command the team and operate the way that he knows and sees fit. And, I mean, he's still going to get direction and stuff from, his surrounding cast. So, we don't have to worry about that. But I think it's very important that, he implements his personality. He puts his personality, his stamp on that team, and I think he will.
Popovich officially retired now. He's now moved on to the executive level. Now, as he said, he's the big boss. He's the jefe. He is the big man now. But you look back at his career, what are your thoughts on Popovich now that he's no longer coaching?
Well, I mean, you see Popovich, come from, an assistant to the general manager. And, I mean, he always kind of had his hands around, he had grasp on everything that's going on. So whatever capacity in, he was still, probably the big boss, That he had just had his hands in. He had a good eye for talent. And, about putting the team together and bringing them to where they understood that, what a team is all about. So, I mean, I don't think you try to duplicate that, but, you try to get your own identity and, appreciate the legacy that he's left, for you. And you always strive to, try to get up to that level. And as long as you're striving and moving forward, you'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What do you think, Coach? This upcoming team maybe could be chasing that playoffs. It's been a while, but do you think this could be it?
Well, you look here. In this league, anything's possible.
Okay.
They're young, they're energetic. My thing is, the old they call because, they know the way. And the young because they're strong. So, when you get a good blend of both of those, the sky's going to be the limit.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Yeah, because it's been a minute since the Spurs have been in the postseason. So my gut feeling, I think they're going to do it this year. That drought is going to be cut. It's done. We're going to start getting some W's beyond the 82-game schedule in the postseason. Hey, Coach Moore, before I let you go, any maybe a funny moment you can remember or fun moment you had when you had that uniform on playing at Old Hemisphere? Any memory, fun memory?
Wow. It's... I mean, really, this so, and I've always been so serious, and I never. Someone asked me, "Oh man, did you have fun?" Well, I never played for fun, but I always had fun, and the fun was in the winning and the preparation, and how you come out and do the things. So, I mean, there's a lot. Well, I might not be able to say it. Well, I'm gonna tell you, we were on the plane and we got a little per diem, what I'm saying? We're going through Vegas and I get off on Vegas, I stop in there and before I leave, I got I made $500 and I'm all like I'm the big time gambler, right? So by the time we went to the hotel, shoot, I lost that money.
Yeah.
All my per diem, went to casino, they had to give me a meal ticket. But all those experiences, it's been fun. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
But, I learned a lot, developed some relationship with the players. And, I mean, that's really what it's all about, stuff that's going to last a lifetime.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you still keep in contact with the San Antonio Spurs still, right? You still help them out?
Yeah, I do. But, I'm quite busy and, they get on their schedule. But, and even if they don't see me, I'm always with them in spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Mr. Johnny Moore, Mr. 00. Every time you go to a game, you look up in the roster. What do you see? You see 00. That's him. That's that guy right now on your screen right now. Again, Spurs legend, Spurs icon, one of the pioneer players for this team once they made it into the NBA. That's what he is, right? You're looking at history right here, everybody. History right here, Mr. Johnny Moore. Also, he is the head coach of your ABA team, the Alamo City All-Stars. Once again, their first exhibition game will be Saturday, October 11th, 2025, 4 p.m. Where you want to go? You want to go to East Thurman Walker Sports Complex, formerly known as the Antioch Sports Complex. That's on 312 E. Ross Street, 78202. Again, like Johnny mentioned, he made a good analogy right now. It's just like the old Hemisphere days. $10 tickets. Yeah. How about you want to bring your kid? Not a problem. $5. Senior, military, $7. Go there right now. Well, you want to go to AlamoCityAllStarsTeam.com. There you can get your tickets. Johnny, I think you can also get tickets at the door, right? Pretty sure.
Excuse me, say it again?
You can probably get tickets at the door as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I always get tickets at the door.
Yeah. So if you can't get online, just go to the complex, sports complex, and get yourself a ticket. Go yourself, have some fun. Cheer on the All-Stars. Cheer on Johnny. Cheer on the entire staff. Everybody make fun of the rookie sideline reporter. That'd be me this year. See that moment where Johnny just goes like this? Yeah, I don't want to talk to you, Jeff. Get out of my face. I'm busy right now.
No, never that. Never that.
Johnny, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. It's giving us some of your memories of the the NBA days that you were in, and of course, talking all things All-Stars. So Johnny, we appreciate it so much. Thank you very much. Anything you want to mention to the fans before I let you go?
No, I just a shout out to, all those people who was part of the franchise over the years who made Spurs basketball, what it is. I appreciate it. They continue, and I wish them, all the success in the world. And I know that, it will come to pass. So them just encourage the people to come out and see us. And you never know which that one you looking at the Alamo City All-Stars who might be right there in the Spurs one day. You never know. So just thank y'all. We really appreciate your support. Look forward to seeing y'all.
Exactly. Hey, by the way, everybody, if you go to the formerly Antioch, the sports complex right now, you'll see Avery Johnson's jersey hanging on the wall too. Not kidding. Avery Johnson's jersey's hanging on the wall. So go check it out there. It's a fun environment. Nice, intimate gym. Really good games. Hopefully we'll see you there very soon, next month, October. So again, I'll flash the website. You can probably see it on your screen right now. And go there right now. So Johnny, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. Subscribe right now. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things San Antonio Spurs. So for the legend himself, Johnny Moore, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.
Thank you.